daylilies at the end of their life cycle. Some are still green-ish. A lot of them are turning brown. This is at the point that I generally harvest them. Some people like to harvest them a bit earlier. I think it depends on the weather. The weather we've been having here is super hot and dry, so nothing's really started to decay yet. It can be quite a mind shift to train your brain to see this stuff as material, because most people just throw it on the compost pile. But once you start looking at it as if you were harvesting, into that mindset of being choosy about your material. This is also the time to look at the leaves and get rid of anything like, see that spider web in there? I'm just gonna get rid of that right now, so I'm not bringing any creepy crawlies into the house. And just check it as you go. It is a mind shift, it is time consuming, and it's not for everybody, and that's a good thing. You'll learn the more you do that the conditions will vary, even on the same plant. The front of the plant has been in the sun. The back side of the plant, which is on drip irrigation system, has stayed a lot more damp. So I noticed that the material that I've pulled from the back of the plant is starting to break down a little bit more. So I'm gonna be a little bit more choosy. So you can see the difference, even in the color. There's the nice stuff that's been kept nice and dry. And here's the stuff that's a bit more broken down. It's a darker brown. I like my material to be hung in groups where it's fairly consistent material. So I will go ahead and pick out any ones that got there accidentally, like that green one in there, I'll pull that one out. This one is sort of yellowy green, and I'll pull that out, and mostly that's because it won't dry out as quickly as the other ones, which are almost perfectly dry already. This one here, it's too wet. So if I hang that in a bundle to dry with the rest, it'll take too long to dry, I think. You want to give everything a good shake to make sure all the creatures are out. This bundle is pretty dry, so I'm actually doing it a fairly thick, to me, a fairly thick grouping. That's about a fistful right there. If they were any more wet than this, if they were still had a bit of dampness in them, I wouldn't do them in such a thick bundle. Here's another one. Because the tighter you make this, the more likely it is to mold. If they were any more wet than this, I would make them thinner, like maybe even in half that much. Yeah, but this is fine to hang to dry like that. Regular old elastic band, which works really well because as they shrink, as they dry, they'll shrink more, and the elastic band will just shrink with it. So that's it, it's ready to hang up. Ta-da! Once these are perfectly dry, I will bundle them up and wrap them in paper. Newspaper works. Roll them into long tubes, and then you can just store them upright in the corners or in a long cardboard box. And I've done that for years, and it works really well. Just avoid using plastic, because if there's any moisture left, things can go moldy. As long as these are kept dry and out of the sun for the most part, this material will keep for years.